Suicide in Japan is a major problem as well. One of the highest suicide rates in the civilized world, in the advanced cultures, is in Japan. And the reason why, I'm going to read this article here. It says, when it comes to suicide, Japan has a very different way of viewing it and has an attitude more complex than probably any other country. They have something called Inseki Jisatsu, or the act of responsibility-driven suicide. There has been a code of honor associated with suicide since the 12th century, when samurai warriors used to commit seppuku, literally meaning cutting the belly, to avoid surrendering to the enemies. The idea of this honorable suicide was revived again during World War II by Japan's imperial government, and particular emphasis was laid on the virtues of militarized suicide attacks, hello kamikaze. While seppuku is no longer practiced in the modern-day Japan, the idea of an honorable death by suicide has evolved in parallel to its modern-day form of Inseki Jisatsu, where people committing suicide as an act of responsibility is deemed an act of great honor. For instance, people committing suicide to alleviate the burden of debts on their family through a life insurance payout comes under the category of Inseki Jisatsu and is considered worthy of honor. So if you commit insurance fraud by killing yourself so your family can cash out on the life insurance, which is intended for people when they die naturally or die of an accident. You're stealing from the company. It's insurance fraud. It's wicked. Killing yourself is wicked. There's nothing. It's dishonorable. It's one of the most hateful, dishonorable things you could do is to commit suicide. You're ruining the lives of the people that you leave behind. But over there, it's an act of great honor. Why? Because this book is not the guiding light over there. That's why. That's the kind of crazy stuff you come up with when this book, when Shinto guides you and Buddhism guides you. And you know, the sermon on Buddhism, I showed all the examples of suicide in Buddhism and how it's glorified in certain aspects in Buddhism and everything like that. Look, when you don't have the Bible, you're following Satan. Yeah, that's right. Buddhism's of Satan. Shinto is of Satan. Atheism is of Satan. I mean, look, you're following the devil. And the devil would love for you to kill yourself. Yeah. That's why in the Bible, when people are demon-possessed, they threw themselves in the fire. They threw themselves in the water. They were very self-destructive, cutting themselves and all. And we see that even today in America, the cutting themselves and the suicide and all these things. But one last thing I want to bring up is suicide in Japan is a major problem as well. One of the highest suicide rates in the civilized world, in the advanced cultures, is in Japan. And the reason why, I'm going to read this article here. It says, when it comes to suicide, Japan has a very different way of viewing it